Good afternoon. I think it is very difficult to have a session before lunch, but we'll try to make it brief. I have been told that to complete the session within 20 minutes, so it will not be longer. So very important session today on addressing the dilemma of labor skill development in South Asia. I think this Bay of Bengal conversation is very timely initiative from the regional point of view, and this Bay of Bengal region is very strategically very important region from the geopolitical point of view, from the geoeconomics point of view. And it is true that though 1/5 of the population or around 1/4 of the world population are here, but in terms of integration, one of the least integrated region in the world. So there is a huge rooms for improvement in terms of connectivity, in terms of regional cooperation, in terms of institutional development. So, but we are talking about growth, but nowadays we are talking about beyond growth. So not only education, we need to focus on skilled population, and it is very important from the capabilities point of view, from the efficiency point of view. We need to now focus on skill development. And if we look at the sustainable development goals number 8, that is the decent work and macroeconomic growth and productive employment. So one of the issues, in this region, that we may have some growth, but with sluggish, skill development or productive development, productivity. So it is very important, that is productivity is the ultimate source of living standard. So productivity or, this efficiency is very important. Capabilities to perform a certain actions is very important. So to discuss on these issues, we have two eminent panelists. One is our respected Dr. Nazmul Ahsan Kalimullah, sir, who was the former Vice-Chancellor of Rangpur University, Professor of Dhaka University in the Public Administration Department. So he does not need any introduction because he is known to all. We have another panelist, Dr. Suthikorn Kingkaew, Director of Research Future Initiative, Innovative Thailand Institute. So without further delay, let's hear from them, and I promise you to finish the session within 20 minutes. So let's hear from Dr. Nazmul Ahsan Kalimullah.
Good afternoon, respected moderator, fellow panelists, and the audience. I had the opportunity to live in England for 6 years in West Midlands and Somerset. And I sort of found the so-called Indian restaurants, sort of run by Bangladeshis, of course, they are facing problem in terms of getting skilled labor, especially in the culinary industry. So that's one end of the continuum, and on the other, I had the opportunity to interact closely with famous chef Tony Khan in Dhaka. He worked all over the world, and he also realized that after a few generations, the labor supply to this industry the big problem. So keeping that in mind, he has come up with a sort of training institute, Tony Khan's Culinary Institute, he named it, and tried to sort of focus on kids as well as future sort of potential chefs. And there are a lot of enthusiasm we found amongst them, but there's a big difference between educated, half-educated, skilled, and semi-skilled target audience. And he's trying to address all these and trying to branch out in all over Bangladesh, in Jessore, in Khulna, in Sylhet, and other places. So, keeping this in mind, I think other entrepreneurs should also come forward and sort of come up with outlets like Tony Khan's Culinary Institute. Historically and traditionally, we found that training institutes are treated as kind of dumping ground from in the public sector, and its importance is not sort of viewed properly. There is an apex body which is called Bangladesh Society for Training and Development, and it has institutional as well as individual members. Public training institutes such as BPATC, National Academy for Planning and Development, Civil Officers Training Academy or BCS Academy, these type of institutes are affiliated with this apex body. However, those institutes which are providing hands-on practicum type training are not associated with this umbrella. So I'd call upon the management of this apex body to sort of incorporate skilled training institutes in their fold. With this, I'd like to end in here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your comments on the skill development issues. Now I'd like to request Dr. Suthikorn Kingkaew, Director of Research Future Innovative Thailand Institute.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is my first time in Bangladesh. I really enjoyed. I arrived on Sunday. I have a chance to visit the city. I ride on rickshaw twice. It's a very interesting experience, and it's quite amazing for me to have the first-hand experience of Bangladesh. I got assigned to talk on this topic. My background, I was trained as scientist for my first degree, and then I moved to study development, and global value chain is my research for my PhD, and I continue on researching on global value chains. So this is my interpretations of the topic. So why we need to upskill or reskill our workforce? This is simple questions. We need it so our worker can earn more and economy can grow and distributing the benefits to everyone in the society. This is very simple. How we can do that? Let me explain by an example of apparel industry, which Bangladesh has contributed significantly to global trade of this industry. Let me use the slide. The first one, I would like to ask everyone, I mean, you should have answer in mind. How much does a worker in Bangladesh get paid per year? Can you guess? From my research, I quickly Googled it last night. It's about $800 per year. Next slide, please. How much does a brand ambassador like Ronaldo, like Messi, for Nike, for Adidas, how much they get paid per year to be brand ambassador for Nike or Adidas? Can you guess? $30 million. So this is the scale I want you to see, why you need to upscale. But I don't ask all your workers, millions of them, to be Messi or Ronaldo. It's not possible. But what I want to argue, I want to show in this case is, next slide please. So one brand ambassador equal to 40,000 workers in the factory. Basically, the whole worker who work in a contract factory for Nike, every one of them combined together is equal to just one brand ambassador for Nike. So this is the number that very astonishing for developing country like us, Thailand as well. Next slide, please. So most value is not generated in factory, but actually it's generated in research and development, marketing, sales, and distributions. How are you going to create value on that part of the business or that part of the value chains? Next slide, please. Basically, my thought on this is any country, any government can promote upskill or reskill of their workforce easily. You can spend monies, you can ask university, technical college to help reskill and upskill your workforce. Simple. But what you need is not just reskill, upskill. What you need is local company that require those skills. You can't have worker with higher skill who request more paid, higher salary, but there's no jobs. So what you need is actually, next slide please. So what you need is local companies. What I mean local is doesn't mean local Bangladesh, but any foreign company who investing in Bangladesh, they need to focus on high value add jobs as well. It's like building technology capabilities, building branding capabilities. These are something that you need. And this is the key to generate value to local economy. Next slide, please. So working on researching on design, researching on technology, researching on global consumers, and by local companies using the local workforce. These are the key to generate upskill and reskill workers who earn more and distribute more to the economy. Next slide, please. Okay. So what I need to emphasize for Bangladesh is you need a coordinated effort by both government to reskill, upskill the workforce. At the same time, you need the companies that require those skills. You can't have one or another. So with coordinated effort by both parties or both stakeholders in these situations. So when you look into the development of those newcomer countries, newcomer industrial countries, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, China, their development and their upskill of their workforce are backed by the development of strong local industries, local cluster, and local companies. I would name a few like Samsung, Huawei, Taiwan Semiconductor. These are companies that are backbone of the development. They help you reskill, they help you employ, they help you pay higher to the worker, to the workforce. So this is something I want to emphasize is a two-pronged approach. Government supporting reskill, upskill. At the same time, the companies have to work on it and have to help recruiting, providing higher paid jobs and driving the economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suthikorn, for your comments on the basically labor productivity issues and also labor wage and other related issues, particularly on the decent work issues. Now we are opening the floor, and if you have any comments, feedback on the particularly not only based on their presentation, but also you can have any issues related to labor skill development, particularly focusing on in South Asia. Please. So we have 5 minutes for this open session.
Do you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Sir, if you could introduce yourself.
Yeah. I'm Munshi Faiz Ahmad, a former ambassador of Bangladesh to China.
Well, that I think should say enough. Now, I am very much interested in this topic, but I am interested for one reason. Upskilling and reskilling is very important depending on the need, as you said, that it has to have demand. Only then that will be useful. But already people are working in these sectors. Are they receiving just payment? Are they receiving the salaries that they should have? And who are responsible for if they are not receiving the just salaries, who are responsible for it? One is the people who are actually buying them. They are trying to force the prices down, which is not the right thing to do. They want compliance, but they don't want to raise the price. So don't you think that there is a responsibility there? And also that immediately there should be some effort to raise the wages level of the workers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, anyone? Yes, please.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mamunur Rashid, banker by profession. I'd like to ask about foreign currency, basically dollar, and what strategy could we take to get rid of this currency crisis or really impasse in foreign trade business? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, please.
Thank you. I just stood up just to congratulate the presentation he made. It was a wonderful presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you. Anyone? One more question or feedback? No. Sir, would you like to respond?
Well, with reference to Ambassador Mushi's queries or sort of statement, I would say that back in the 80s, World Development Movement is a think tank based in London. They came up with a year-long campaign with reference to this type of issues entitled Stop the Stitch Up. And still there is a need for such campaign, especially in the northern countries, so that we can make the target audience aware that what you say and what you do, there is a big hiatus. So should realize that. Thank you.
Please.
To answer to the question that His Excellency asked us on the responsibility of consumer, I believe the responsibility of consumer. I was trained as business school. The responsibility of the consumer is to buy something they want. So it's not their responsibility to give more to the worker, but it's the responsibility of the government as well as the companies to try to uplift the workforce through providing better value to customer. That's what I asked in the question in the presentation, that you need to think and you need to research what customer want, what consumer want more. For example, Thailand, we export canned tuna. We are 70% of global canned tuna producer in the world. You know, canned tuna, Walmart, for example, they keep pushing you down. This is simple. Everyone providing products to Walmart, they keep pushing you down. You have to open your books, telling them this is your profit margin, this is your cost of workforce, this is cost of raw material, and they decide whether how much you can get the margin. This is normal practice. But what the company is trying to do is they research more and they understand more what consumer needs. For example, instead of selling canned tuna in metal can, they develop technology that put canned tuna in plastic cup and selling it with biscuit. So it creates more value. So people don't have to cook canned tuna at their home. They can have it at snack when they have it's ready meal, when they go to work, when they outside, so on. So they create value through research of what customer wants. And through that, when you do research, you need people to work on the research. You need people to research on the new packaging and so on and so on. These are something that create value back to the economy. So there's a movement of consumer responsibilities, I'm sure. But you cannot ask the majority of consumers to be responsible by raising what they pay for the worker. You have to create higher value for them through research and development, through technology, to marketing, to brandings. And that create value to your companies and then to your workforce. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both the presenter. I think this session is particularly very important because we are now talking about the labor productivity which can make difference in the real world. Let's give an example, say, for how this productivity is very important issues, or capabilities is very important issues. You know, almost 10 million workers, they are sending remittance to Bangladesh around, say, for $22 billion. In Philippines, if you look at Philippines, 1/4 of our Bangladesh, that is Bangladesh overseas workers, they are sending almost double of the remittance. What makes the difference? It makes the difference basically labor productivity issues. So we need to basically produce, productive graduates. 2.2 million graduates entering into the Bangladeshi labor market. But how much of them are productive? How much of them are efficient? So we need to focus on these issues. And there is a government initiative that to establish science and technology university. But sometimes it is very frustrating that we don't see the difference between general university and University of Science and Technology. So we need to basically produce the productive graduates. That is also important. And also we need to have a linkage between industry and academia. Otherwise, with the demand of industry, we cannot be in a position to produce the graduates as required by the industry. And also you are aware that half a million overseas mid-level workers, they are working in Bangladesh. On the other hand, we are facing challenges with underemployment and unemployment issues. So why? Because if you ask the factory owners or industrialists, they will ask that, or they will respond that we don't have any, we are not having the required skilled manpower as required by our industry. So that's why we are dependent on other countries. So this is very important. There are some rooms for important improvement, and what we need to ensure social business model. We will do business, but we need to ensure social business model. We need to ensure that labor ways and also labor laws, whatever it is, from the both supply side and demand side perspective, all the issues are dealt carefully from the compliant point of view. So having said this, thank you very much for your patience hearing, and thank you Dr. Kalimullah, and thank you Dr. Suthikorn for your wonderful feedback on these issues. Thank you so much.